Hey, it's podcast time. It's Mitch and Mike, and with us today, Larry Oblander. Hey, welcome, Larry.
There he is.
Yes, Larry's a buddy of mine. I met him at One Voice a few months ago. We hit it off with Thick as Thieves. We have a lot in common. We're both middle-aged white men, and that's pretty much it. But here we are. So we thought we'd have Larry on the show because he's a good dude and he likes to have fun.
Thank
So
you.
welcome.
Welcome,
Thank you.
Larry. I'm already getting good vibes.
Yeah, it's been nice.
It's been nice.
It's a great discussion, guys. See you later.
Yeah.
Bye now.
Okay, that was it.
Our time is up.
Yes. So what are we going to do for the next 40 minutes then?
Yeah, that's got to
Mitch?
be the new podcast pitch. All right,
Yeah.
30-second podcast, and go. Larry, I'm going to start with a question. I'm going to start rolling right away, right in,
Wow.
because we've never actually met, Larry. And Mike talks very highly of you. And normally we kind of talk about ourselves a lot on this podcast. Boo, boring. Already heard
Everybody
about
knows
me and
about
Mike.
us
That's
already.
what you make a podcast for, so you can talk about yourself.
Our tens and tens of listeners know all
Yeah.
they need to know about us.
It's very tough to keep it rolling on ourselves, but there's plenty. But I want to know more about Larry. What brings you here today? How did we make it here? And you can start at whatever point you like.
It's been a crazy road. Well, you see, I started back when I was 5 years old, and no.
No?
Let's see, I'm a 10-year Army vet.
Thank you.
And when I got out, I was in IT, worked that for years. I always did voices and had fun with my kids. Never took it serious. Never was like, oh, I should do something with this. And after about 20 years of working with Oracle, that they decided during COVID that they were just going to let me go.
Yikes.
Said that they let go about a third of their people during COVID.
I need to know what Oracle is.
Database software?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
All the big companies use it.
The big companies use
okay.
them.
I'm sure my wife would know what the heck's going on. I'm out of every loop, it sounds like.
But I should reverse that a little bit while I was still working there. I actually started on stage for probably about 3-4 years, and it was all from a dare from my son, my oldest son. He was playing football at the time in high school. It was a senior year. They just played their final game. And, I told him, hey, son, I am not a man of money. So if you want to go to college, we need to go using football. And he just told me on the way home, he said, I talked to the athletic director. He said, if I don't do something because it's not my passion, that's an okay reason not to do something. But if I don't do something because I'm afraid of failing at it, he said, that is not the direction somebody should go. And I was like, yeah, I totally agree with that. I love that. I think that's great. And he's like, good. Because I think you could be a really good actor, but you're too afraid to try because you think you're not going to be good at it.
Oh, mic drop.
Yeah, turned that and reversed it on me. After I was done blubbering for a little bit, I told him he was grounded for a week.
Did you have words with the athletic
auditioned for
director for
stage.
putting that in his in
Oh
his
my
mind?
gosh.
So then I did stage for like 4 years and thoroughly enjoyed it. Didn't like the politicking of stage, especially local theater. It's very much, oh, well, we like these guys and we're not going to let anybody else have a shot.
Yeah.
And
It's a
so it
fraternity.
was a lot of ensemble work. But I still had fun. The people that I hung out with, it was a blast. And it definitely taught me a few things. And eventually one of the actresses said, hey, have you ever thought about doing audiobooks? Because, you have a pretty good voice for maybe doing some audiobooks. And she told me how to get started with that. And I jumped in and I think right now I have like 17 books on Audible right now.
Wow.
I had one, my best one was Last of the Exalted by Derek Pryor. That one was actually nominated for an award out of London. I had 50 unique characters in that book.
Oh,
They
wow.
have their own
That's
voice.
great.
Whether it be
Oy.
by tone, pacing, accent, I was able to do 50 different voices. And
did you like keep a list in the studio so you knew, okay, when this guy's voice comes up, I got to pick up the pace a little bit?
I had a whiteboard in my studio back then. I also would, every time I created a character, then I would save a piece of that as an individual file. So if he didn't show up till way later in the book, I go, how did I make that guy sound again? Go back, listen to that clip real fast. I learned the hard way from other books of, oh, great, now I've got to scroll through this book until I can find this person again. So I learned to make files for every character.
Be organized, yeah.
And I loved that book. It was a great book. But did that for a few years, and then we're back to when Oracle decided to lay me off. And I talked to my wife. I went and watched a little clip on how to become a voice actor, or what does it take to become a voice actor. It was like a $5 workshop fee, and I was like, sure, I'll do that. $5. It'll help me at least figure out what's going on. And ended up taking this little thing, and the workshop instructor leader said, okay, I need 10 She got about that far, and I was like, me. And she was like, because I went 10 volunteers to go ahead and do a reading for me to evaluate, do whatever. And we all had a one-on-one set up for the next day with her. And I did my thing, and the first girl goes, and she's like, oh, that's amazing. You're brilliant. You need to be doing this for a career. No corrections, no nothing. The next guy gets up, he gets one correction. Next is like one or two. The next was back down to none. And she finally gets to me. I was about 7th or 8th in the list. And I do my first read, the cold read. And then she's like, okay, try doing it like this. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so I switched it, did it the way she told me to do it. She's like, okay, that was all right. Let's go ahead and try it this way. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, crap, I just keep screwing this up. Yeah. And she did this 7 times in the course of my thing. Yeah. And I was like, well, I must really suck. I literally got off the phone or off the Zoom call and went to my wife and I said, I don't think I'm supposed to be a voice actor. And she said, what do you mean? And I said, well, they corrected me 7 times, more than anybody in there. And she's like, well, let's just see what they say in that meeting.
Please continue.
What was that?
I said, I think I know where this is going, but please continue.
Yeah. So the next day, I go to my one-on-one, and right away, she opens it up with, look, this is just a formality. We want to be able to work with you because we think that you would make a great voice actor. And I was like, wait, you corrected me 7 times in that session. And she said, no. I wasn't correcting you. I was directing you. And I wanted to see if you could redirect off of the track you were on and change to something completely different based on the instructions that I gave you. And she's like, and you hit it every single time.
Nice.
And she said, being directable is key for being able to be a good voice actor. And so I was like, well, all right. So I talked to my wife, said, hey, what do you think about me using some of my severance package to go ahead and get me some professional coaching, get some demos done, and let's just see where this goes. And so here we are now, 4 years later? I think the last 2 years probably are where I've actually hard charged it and was really pushing to let's be serious about this now. And things have just been happening. Things have just been falling into place that have been really nice.
That's awesome. Hey, you're allowed to name drop here. Who is that original lady who
was that coach?
Discovered you?
Honestly, I cannot remember her name from being 4 years ago.
Oh, no.
It was with Such a Voice.
Okay. Okay.
And I worked with them for a little bit. But then I eventually, one of my coaches from Such a Voice was Tim Powers. And he's the one that worked with my commercial demo. And he's actually created a group of the people that he feels that he's coached have a good future ahead of them. Created a group called the Mic Droppers. And so we've just been a part of this little group, and we help each other. We help each other finding auditions. There's a small group that I work with, where we listen to each other's auditions, try to critique them, say what we think might go a little bit better or whatever, and we've just been going from there. It's just been a wonderful ride of working with Tim Powers, and then just recently I ended up getting with the amazing Malik Berger, who has been in stuff like Archer, the new Fairly Odd Parents. What was some other ones? Rick and Morty. She's been in some big stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like
And
it.
so I met her at One Voice this year, and we just connected right away, and it's just been a crazy ride for these last few months.
Wow, man.
So I just recently got signed with Coast to Coast Talent Group in LA,
Okay.
which is a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty stoked about that, to see where that goes.
We're stoked
man.
for you. This is a dream come true story.
Yeah, it's been a crazy, crazy ride.
And I bet, I'm going to wager a guess that you just happened upon all of it, and you didn't put any work in along the way, and you weren't working days and then working nights to do all this.
I rubbed the genie bottle to see what would happen.
Yeah. I'm going to peel away a little bit and ask you, what did those days look like when you were doing both?
I still do both. I actually work for the Navy now as a civilian, veteran civilian. And it's my day is I'll go to work during the day. I come home right after work. I'll throw in some auditions. I use for anybody that's looking into trying to figure out where they can find auditions and things like that. You can find them there's a group on Twitter. You can get some pretty good auditions listed on there, but I usually go through Voice 123. It's a pay to play basically, where you can find
Mitch is on
auditions.
it.
But the tough part is the beginning. It's so hard, and you got to be persistent. If you're not persistent, you're never going to make it. Because in the beginning, it is slow, and it is tough to get your foot in the door.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to stay at it.
We've talked about that, and and that's kind of the premise of the podcast here is we're both, beginning in this. I mean, Mitch has got a little bit more time involved, but he's gone full time, and we're still both, working through. This is my first year of doing it, and it is slow. It is also, I know that we always talk too that I need to be doing more, putting in more work, to network and to get myself out there. And so that's something I'm building on and working on, but yeah, I know, and we hear this all the time, that the first year, even the first couple of years, can be slow, and then the more work you put into it, the more likely it is you're gonna break. If you're good, you're good. People are gonna figure it out.
I think I heard once that they said that the average for a voice actor to really get going is 5 years before everything really starts to happen. And
I'm
so
at that mark.
Yeah, it's a weird mark that's out there.
It's falling upon me now. As we speak, it's
pretty
here.
soon it will be the Mike show, because Mitch will be too big for me to still associate
I've made
with.
friends in the right places.
And in some ways that still is the case, right? It's getting out there and actually going to things like One Voice or VO Atlanta or Mavo or all these different conferences that you can go to, and really getting out there and trying to meet people and trying to, take as many workshops as you can take, because when you take these workshops, that gets you in front of people that have something to do with the industry, so that they can hear you and then go, we should maybe talk.
Yeah, this guy. Yeah.
Like this year, first year at One Voice last year, I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea what classes to take. or workshops, didn't,
Mm-hmm.
none of that stuff. This year, everything was strategic. I was like, I want to take a workshop with this person, this coach. I want to take a workshop with this casting director. I want to take a workshop with, just to get myself out there. And, right now, the coach one, that's what got me in with Malik Berger. And she heard something in me and said, we need to talk. We need to get together and start working something out. And, things have been starting to happen.
Larry, I have to say, you have a bit of charisma, okay? That it takes, it doesn't, you and Mike, it takes the charisma, too, of putting yourself out there and also knowing how to talk to people. You guys, pros. That's not something that comes easy to everybody. I'm not going to tell you about myself. No one cares. But you guys, I know for sure, can do that. What do you think it took to get you in that mindset of getting out there and putting yourself in front of people? And is that just something innately inside you, or do you?
No, honestly, this is all a facade. If it wasn't for us talking beforehand, I'd have been like, what do you want me to say? No, it is hard for me because I'm what they call a extroverted introvert. So
I'm just the opposite. I'm an introverted extrovert.
So it takes me a second to actually talk to people. There has to be some sort of a tie-in or break-in to be able to have a discussion and open that up. And honestly, for me, I have never been that person that knows how to open the conversation with somebody. Once a topic starts, I'm all over it. Like last year, I met Kristen Paiva for the first time, who used to be one of the big casting directors for Disney. Yeah. And you can see I'm wearing my, I think you can see it, my strong jaw ale.
Strong jaw.
Critical Role,
which
is a group of voice actors with Matt Mercer, Ashley Johnson, Travis Willingham, and Laura Bailey. And I just, watching them all the time, I went in and I had this shirt, went to a barbecue dinner one night, and Kristen Paiva happened to be there, and she's like, hey, let me take a picture of your shirt. I need to send this to Travis and show that someone's wearing, his shirt. And I was like, wait, you know Travis?
You know that guy?
You know Travis Willingham? And she's like, yeah, we go to dinner all the time. I'm like, shut up. I had no idea who she was. I had no idea who she was. So it was really easy for me to talk because I was just like, shooting the shit with somebody. It didn't bother me. And we started talking about D&D. We started talking about, Critical Role, things like that. And then the next day she came up, she's like, hey Larry, it was great talking to you last night. I had a good time, blah, blah, blah. And she left and Tim Powers was with me and he looked at me and he said, you have no idea who that is, do you? I said, I don't. I really don't. And he goes, because I'm so new last year. And he goes, that was Kristen Paiva. And I freaked out and I was like, well, now I'm actually glad I didn't know who that was because I probably would have clammed up.
Wow. Man, oh man, it is kind of funny the change in mindset. I mean, she comes up a lot on here too. She's a big name.
I may have name dropped her once or twice. Just like you. I mean, I was awestruck, talking to her at One Voice, and now she's a coach at GVAA, as Tim Powers is, and we've had Tim. We've had Tim on the show as well several episodes earlier, but maybe we can get Kristen on at some point. But yeah, I mean, just just the it's amazing the people we've met and just the association. It's like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. We're like 2 degrees away from some really serious people. We had David Rosenthal on last week. And he was telling stories and dropping names of. He grew up with Daniel Stern from the Wonder Years and Home Alone and all of that. And we're like, whoa. So yeah, I mean, some of these people that we're suddenly associating with in this industry is
This happened over the weekend. I was watching Suzume on Netflix. I don't know if you saw that anime. Beautiful anime. It's beautiful. I'm like, I wonder if I know anybody in this. Jennifer Sun Bell.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, she's like one of the top. Joe Zija, the marketing extraordinaire, among many other names. But those are the top two I can recall off the top of my head. But I was like, I've talked to at least one of those people. Like, it's very strange. Yeah. And I'm sure
I've actually, you said Joe Zija. I actually got to do a scene with him there's an anime that I'm a producer for that is coming out of Houston. Don't know exactly when, but it's in the process.
Nice.
But Joe Zija we brought in as our lead character, our lead voice actor. But when he came in to read for us, they had me read with him to do lines back and forth. And I was just like, holy crap. I'm like reading a scene with Joe Zija.
Yeah, that dude's
And then
good.
and one voice this year, Kristen Paiva grabbed me because I took her workshop. And we had a blast in her workshop. And then she said, hey, come to dinner with us tonight. And I was like, all right, cool. You know, that's Kristen Paiva's asking me to dinner. That's cool. Only I didn't realize that we were going to dinner with Eric Bauza.
Yeah.
You know, Bugs Bunny.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, I am literally sitting across the table from Eric Bauza right now. How did I get here?
Right.
Yeah, it's funny because during One Voice, I mean, I actually didn't really get to know Larry until really the last day.
The last
at
morning,
breakfast.
the morning of breakfast before we left.
I knew you by association because I started hanging with Tim and with Kat and with Sean Scott and the, you know, the mic droppers. Basically, I was like an honorary mic dropper for the weekend, and so, you know, but they just kept saying, oh Larry, oh wait till you get to meet Larry, he's going places. Yeah, Larry, he doesn't even know how good he is. Larry, and then I have breakfast with you and we started talking. And it's like, oh, you are me and I am you. Maybe someday I can be on the same path as you.
Cute.
Because you just, you know, you do have this trajectory that is very that I'm envious of in a good way. I'm not like jealous, you know, like Greenwood and
right.
I'm jealous.
I see you and I hear the things you do and everything, and I aspire to that. So,
I truly
so
the whole thing. I thank you for that. I do. I just feel blessed and truly humbled over this because for me, many times, even when I was on stage, when they're just like, "Wow, how did you do that?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Well, how we were cracking a joke while you were in the wings and you jumped on stage and you're bawling your eyes out and you came back off stage and we continued joking. They're like, how do you do that? And I'm just like, I just become the character. That's what you have to do. I mean, you can't, I think too many times there's a misconception that just reading off a page with a bellowing voice is going to make you a voice actor. No, there's still a whole lot of acting that goes into that. And you've got to do a bunch of nonverbal acting in order to really make that scene come across. Or else it's just going to be bland and it's not going to hit the mark it was intended to hit.
Where did you find this stuff for yourself? This well of knowledge. Is this you said you didn't start when you were 5, you started acting much later.
On a dare from your son.
Yeah, I'm 54 now. I started acting probably 7 years ago doing stage.
Yeah.
And
so you know some of the deeper parts of acting that some people take many years to figure out and you can tap into it. Where do you think that comes from?
I joke around a lot saying, you know, my name is Larry, and I joke around a lot saying, yeah, I am the Larry the Cable Guy, you know, the Jim Carrey version. I watched so much growing up that, and because I liked to do voices, would always imitate everything I ever heard on TV, to where once I got on stage, they'd say, hey, we need this emotion to come out. And I'm just like, oh, how can I tap that one? Oh, yeah, there was this character that I saw do this. Let me try this. And, you know, I would try and do something from that. And eventually it became, as they like to say, the toolbox that I was able to go to all the time, that when they needed a certain emotion, I already knew what I needed to do to get that emotion. And honestly, like for me, crying is somewhat hard for me to do on cue. So like when I played Bob Cratchit in A Christmas Carol, and I'm supposed to be crying because we've lost our son and, you know, all this. And I'm like, man, that's really hard for me to get into that. I would sit in the wings. That's the only time I ever told people, don't bother me before I go on stage. Other times I just crack jokes. But I was like, I need to watch these videos. And I tell you, every single time I'm watching military homecoming or military funerals. And that will get me like that.
I'll get anybody.
And I would just start bawling away in the wings, put my phone up on the backdrop, you know, behind the thing, go out there and do my scene, and then come back and then say, okay, now we can joke around and have some fun.
Boy. Wow, okay.
There he is.
So you figured out you figured out the key to your toolbox, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, and,
But I think a lot of it still has to come into, because I don't think no matter how far somebody's gotten, you're always going to have that what is that called, the thing that you have when you don't think that you belong there,
imposter syndrome.
imposter syndrome.
Yeah, we may talk about that from time to time.
You know, I think
Comes up
I don't
as much
care
as
how far
Valencia.
somebody's gotten, in my opinion, as long as you're, you know, a humble actor, you're always going to have that somewhere. You're always going to have that niggling in the back of your mind of just like, I don't think I'm that good. I don't think I should be here, you know. And it's Tim Powers and Malik Berger have been the two, and now Portia Scott with Coast to Coast have just been telling me over and over and over again, look, dude, you're supposed to be here. You know, you're a good actor. We just got to get you in front of the right people.
Yeah.
We need to get them to hear you. Because that's my biggest thing. Marketing, I suck at marketing. Yeah, I'm an old Gen Xer. I hate social media. But I know it's a necessity in the industry. You have to have some portion of that to still put yourself out there. And that's still very difficult for me to learn how to do the marketing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amen.
So
Yeah, I mean, it's really awesome that you've been able to get the right people to listen to you, and it's an inspiration, really. I mean, that there is that aspect of it, because I'm with you, man. To do the direct marketing, to do the like mass email campaigns, that's just not in my wheelhouse. I know that eventually I might need to, but it's you and I grew up in an era of it's who you know, and connections, and that's how you get places. And voiceover
that's why
is no
even
different.
now, I know that I'm not anywhere near, whatever. But no matter what, I'm still trying to pull people in. If I hear that whatever I'm in, like we just Kong Survival Instinct just came out the 22nd. That was like my first console game that I was in. I actually voiced Alan Jonah, who was in the actual movies of Godzilla and Kong in King of Monsters. Was Charles Dance. He was Tywin Lannister in Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay.
I voiced him in the video game.
Whoa.
and so that was kind of cool. But what and I got that because another friend said, hey, I know a guy. You still got to audition, of course.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's trying to help each other out, and say, hey, director guy, I know a guy.
I know a freaking guy over here. He can do the Tywin, no problem.
Yeah. There's this guy. You need him to do, I don't know, fill in the blank voice. This is the guy.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say change oil or something.
I had one of the, I am as Larry is 54, and sometimes, which is bad for a podcast, sometimes my mind goes completely blank. So I had something in my mind, and then it just went like squirrel.
That made
Just started buffering.
That made it way more funny.
Buffer.
All
right.
Sorry, I do have one more question, Mike. I'm truly
please,
sorry
Mitch,
for one
ask
more
the
question because we talked about the Army, we talked about the military, and it is such an important part of who you are, I can tell. How much of that do you think led into your ability to stick with and succeed in this business?
I think, honestly, a lot of the discipline and everything that I had to have in the military, once you're given a task, once you're given a mission, that you continue to drive through that mission, through its completion. And I think that being an NCO in the military, I think that's what helped me with some of the confidence, that helped me to be able to know somewhat how to compartmentalize. I could be deathly afraid when I am up there doing an audition for somebody. I could be shaking like a leaf, but then they'll tell me, you did not sound or look like you were scared up there. And I'm like, that's because I'm trying to push it all in the back and not be so scared.
When I walk out, when I walk out of the booth, I'm gonna break out in a cold sweat and hurl up in the
I'm gonna
fetal
fall
position.
to my knees, going, "Oh God and baby Jesus, I made it." But I think it's I think the NCO and having to do those things in front of a company, in front of your platoon, giving instructions on how to do things, I think that's what helped me to somewhat be able to get in front of people. I mean, I still have those fears just like anybody else, or the insecurities like anybody else, but it's just trying to learn how to power through that. In the military, you're taught, use fear. Don't try and push fear away. Use it.
Yeah. And I mean, and it's led you here. So, yeah. You can't be scared, especially when you start seeing the good of things, when you see light at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
You get that first gig, you get someone telling you, like, you got something. Yeah, I could totally see that. Just pulling each other up over that wall. It's really nice.
Exactly.
Yeah. Larry, you're an amazing guy, and I think I hear there's a storm brewing, and I just heard a massive rumble of thunder. So hopefully I keep power long enough to finish this podcast. But yeah, Larry, I told Mitch about you when I met you, and I've still been saying we got to get Larry on, and he's like, he didn't know you, and so Larry, who?
I was like,
I'm
fuck
like,
that
really?
guy.
You gotta talk to
trying
the
to
guy.
replace me with a fucking guy named Larry?
The Mike and Larry show is gonna be next. Sorry, Mitch. See
I
ya.
didn't even find him on. What is this, Larry? What?
But great to have you. I mean, and hey, we made it a half an hour, Mitch, and Larry and I didn't even break into a little bit when he was talking about the shirt, but we didn't break into the Dungeons and Dragons talk, because that's the other thing that Larry and I have in common is that I am now part of his D&D group, and we had a session last night that was juicy. It was so much fun, and
I'm gonna step out for 15 minutes. You guys talk about that. I'll be back.
No, we'll have Larry on again, and we'll just have a straight D&D episode. And by the end, your eyes will be twitching because you'll be like, oh, stop.
I love D&D. It's just you guys have 8 to 10 more hours in a day than I do. I don't know what the hell's going on.
You make time.
Okay.
You make it happen. You make time.
Fine,
just like anything else, you schedule it.
Actually, the
true.
players have it easy. It's the DM that has the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Larry's created this world that is, he obsesses over it. So I'm like, between your day job and your voiceover stuff, and I don't understand how you, and he's married, and I don't understand how you have time for this.
Well, at least I'm an empty nester now, so that makes things a little easier.
Yeah, me too. Amen. Hey, it's a good life, I'm telling you. All right, well, hey Mitch.
Hi.
Hey, Mitch. We run a little long, but that never stops us. Do you feel like playing your favorite game?
I want to play my game, Larry. Would you play a game with me?
Would you like to play a game?
Yes, very good.
All right. We're going to do a little thing we like to call ChatGPT Roulette.
Oh,
So
dear
we're going to
Lord.
pause here for a minute, figure out, let ChatGPT write us a script, something goofy that we can do, the three of us, and we will return lickety-split.
Okie dokie.
All right, we're back, and
We've done it.
ChatGPT. Yes, we've done it again. We went off screen, and Larry and I were joking that somehow we made it through without going ad nauseum about Dungeons and Dragons, because both Larry and I are big fans of the D&D, and Mitch is not as into it as we are. So
Can we talk more about birds, Mike?
no, let's talk about imaginary creatures that we play.
Okay.
Yeah, so we got what we decided to have.
I reckon we're gonna shoot some birds.
Write us a scene from a Dungeons and Dragons adventure.
Yes,
and so
indeed.
we are. Well, here, let's set the scene.
You want me to do you want me to do the narrator?
Please narrate.
Sure. Yeah. Guest narrator. Here we go.
Scene. A dark forest path with trees looming overhead. The air is thick with the scent of damp earth. The party, Derek the Bard, Thalor the Wizard, and Grok the Orc, are traveling through the woods in search of a lost artifact. The mood is tense, but the camaraderie between the adventurers is palpable. The sound of rustling leaves fills the silence.
The forest is alive with magic, my friends. You can almost hear the ancient song of the trees.
Focus, Derek. Focus. We are on the trail of the amulet of Eldath. If we don't stay alert, we won't make it to the ruins, let alone find the artifact.
Grok smells something. Danger. Orc's nose never lies.
If your nose is as good as your axe, we should be halfway to the amulet by now.
Listen, we don't need to rush, Derek. The ruins are a labyrinth of magical traps. One wrong move and poof, will be nothing but dust and regrets.
Oh, Grok likes dust. Makes good powder for smashing.
Right, Grok. You smash, fella, make sure we don't get turned into frogs, and I'll serenade the trees. Vroom.
Derek, no serenades. We need precision.
Grok's precision is smashing. Grok smash first, ask questions later.
Well, then let's hope the amulet isn't a question. Otherwise, we're in real trouble.
Grok likes trouble.
Oh, bloody hell. I knew this would be a headache.
Oh, come on, fella. Admit it. You'd miss us if we weren't here.
Perhaps. But I still don't trust that loot of yours.
Ah, but my loot is magic in its own right.
Suddenly, the sound of movement from the bushes. What is it?
Don't worry, Grok. It's just the forest. Nothing to smash yet.
Stay sharp. Nothing, not everything in these woods is what it seems.
Oh.
A shadow looms ahead. They ready themselves for whatever might emerge.
They die. TPK.
The orc, the wizard, and the bard in the forest.
Are all dead.
No way we died. That was fun.
All right,
you
that was
guys.
fun. Yeah, see? Mitch, Dungeons and Dragons. It's a good thing.
I know it's a good thing. You just send me more of your time in USPS, please.
All right, well, hey, Larry, it's been fabulous to have you. And, yeah, we'll have to have you on again. And, man, I look forward to the next D&D session.
You guys are awesome. I appreciate you bringing me on. Mitch,
Yeah,
nice
brother.
meeting you.
Nice to meet
Mike, we'll meet again. Hopefully Mitch will meet again.
you. We will.
I'm sure we will.
must.
All right, hey, to all you many, many, many thousands, just thousands and tens of thousands of listeners we have out there, thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. And tell a friend. Until
Bye
next
now.
time, we'll see you later.
You guys are awesome. See you guys.
Bye.